And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be reviewing American Pie, and I have my good friend Soda here with me. We're going to go through this movie scene by scene, stripping away the nostalgia, giving a nostalgic review. Also, too, this is the 25th anniversary, so sit back, relax, and just pretend that you're at band camp, and someone's stuck there polluting, well, you know where. So let's go on ahead. Let's dissect this movie with Soda. And hey, man, how are you?
Doing really, really good. I hadn't seen these movies in a while, but you asked me to do them. I've in the past 3 weeks, I've watched the first one 3 times.
Damn. Okay, yeah, that's dedication. I do appreciate the dedication over here.
Well, the thing is, I love this series. So once we're done this, I'm gonna go watch 2, 3, and probably 4 again.
Part 2 was always one of my favorites too.
2? Oh, 2's in my top 100.
Yeah. 2 is hands down one of my favorites. I might have to go and review that later on with
you. Reunion is number 2 now. I love Reunion. I think that one, I as an adult, I kind of gravitate more towards that one, but 2 will always be my favorite.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So I always ask my guests this. Nostalgically, where do you rate this film at? When was the first time you've seen this movie, and how did you hear about it?
So for nostalgia purposes, this just takes me back to when I was 12 years old, because I was 11, 12 years old when this came out. The first time I saw this, I couldn't tell you the exact moment, but I do know I rented it on VHS. I wasn't old enough to go see it in theaters. So yeah, that's how I came to it. I just rented it at the local video update, and then it's that one, and then same with number 2. Yeah.
Okay. What do you rate it at out of 10?
I would probably rate this one at 7 out of 10, just because some of the humor doesn't exactly work nowadays. But yeah, so that's probably where I would put it. 7 out of 10, just because there's some stuff, especially with Stiffler, as usual.
Right, I gotcha. So my very first time I seen it was with my uncle, and my mom and dad was moving back into Mississippi. Well, moving their stuff from Boston to Mississippi. So therefore, I had to stay over at my uncle's house next door. So they ended up dropping their kids off with their dad, their biological dad, and the mother. So, him and his wife were looking at each other, and they're like, "Well, I want to see a movie. Well, I want to see a movie too." And then they look at me. I'm like, "Great, I'm being a C blocker right here." But look, we're gonna go see a rated R movie. Are you allowed to say? Yeah, I'm allowed to see rated R movies. Okay, good. So I'm your dad. That's your mom. So as soon as you get into the theater, that's what you're going to be calling us. I'm like, okay. So I ended up saying, "Hey, Dad, can I get some popcorn?" He goes, "Don't try your luck."
Very nice. Very nice.
So nostalgically, I remember my friends also talking about this film as well and how funny it was, and I just had to see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish I could see it, but I don't think I would be able to. But then I remember so to speak, coincidentally, I was able to.
Yeah.
But going off what you said, yes, some of the dialogue doesn't hold up or whatever, but I still crack up at some of the scenes.
I agree. A lot of this stuff, it's easy for me to disassociate it from the 2024 eyes, because it's easy for me to recognize that's just how the times were, for better or worse. It's just what it was. You can't change the past, unfortunately.
So for me, as a 14-year-old me, I would have to say I would have to give this at least a 7.
Yeah.
Out of 10 as well. Just because of the comedy, just because of the fact I was laughing my ass off through the whole entire thing when I was a kid, and just having a good time at the theater, just walking out quoting the quotes from the film and things like that.
Yeah.
So that was where I hold up as far as nostalgic goes.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to go on ahead. We're going to go through this thing scene by scene. And so let's go on ahead. Let's do this.
Before we go into that, I do want to say, I will let you know the scene where you can easily differentiate which is the unrated and which is the theatrical version and which one we watched.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
And I'll tell you right now, I watched the unrated version because it's the only version I own.
And you see, I've watched the theatrical cut and everything before, and now I watched the theatrical cut now. I did own the unrated version at one time.
Yes.
And I don't know what happened to that thing at all. I also own the unrated version for American Pie 2. Don't know what happened to it. But yet I have the unrated American Reunion. So I don't understand that. So Anyway, so now we're going to go on ahead and dissect this thing scene by scene. So, attention listeners, gather around because we have an important announcement to make. I'm John DeGorio, and today we are getting bold, we're getting real, and we're getting downright hilarious.
That's right, John. I'm Soda, and we're here to channel our inner teenage awkwardness as we dive into one of the most iconic comedies of all time, American Pie.
No longer will our podcasts remain flaccid and unused. From now on, we will fight for every podcast out there who isn't getting listened to as they should be. This is our day. This is our time. And by God, we're going to let history condemn us to celibacy. We will make a stand. We will secede. We will review American Pie scene by scene, just as it should be.
Whoa, did I already lose my place? Or did you?
And while we're at it,
while we're at it, we'll laugh our butts off reminiscing about Jim's misadventures, Stiffler's outrageous antics, and all the cringeworthy moments that made American Pie a cult classic.
We'll break down the plot, share behind-the-scenes secrets, and decide if the movie still holds up in today's world. Spoiler alert, there's a good chance we'll be laughing too hard to even care.
So grab your friends, hide the pies, and get ready for an unforgettable trip down memory lane. Because this is our podcast, and we're not holding back.
And now, let's get into it. Here's our hilarious, outrageous review of American Pie.
All right.
So, 4 Michigan high school seniors make a pact to lose their virginity before their high school graduation after a geeky classmate, Chuck Sherman, the Shermanator, who's played by Chris Owen, claims to have done so at an arrogant lacrosse player, Steve Stiffler, played by Sean William Scott's party. During this party, Kevin and Vicky go upstairs and she performs oral sex on him. After Kevin comes into a full plastic cup of beer on a nightstand in the bedroom while trying to lose his virginity, the cup is placed on the nightstand and Kevin and Vicky leave. Stiffler comes in a short time later as he's seducing his date, picks up the tainted beer and takes a large gulp, resulting in him making a mad rush to the toilet and vomiting. Kevin asks him how the pale ale.
Stiffler.
And Stiffler says, "Shut fuck you," in disgust and anger. So my question is this: for me, this scene still makes me laugh, especially whenever, of course, they're trying to figure out if she's he's like, look, I never had oral sex or anything. So they go upstairs and she winds up giving him head. And so he winds up coming into the cup. And then that's when Stiffler comes in with another date. He goes, "Hey, ass face, get out of the room." Okay. So they get out, and next thing you know, Stiffler winds up taking a swag from the bear cup. But I definitely like the setup of the party scene right off the bat, even though it starts off first with Jim doing illegal channels. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially when you messaged me this afternoon.
Yeah. So let me talk about that before we get into the whole entire party scene real quick. So this is what I forgot all about. To be honest with you, it's always the cold openings to every single American Pie movie. So it opens up to Jim watching illegal porn channels in the 90s, and of course he's like, "That's a nipple. If you could see it, yes, that's definitely a nipple." And then his mom comes in. There's also a tube sock stuck to his penis as well, and he turns around and says, "What are you watching?" "Oh, it's all scrambled. I'm watching a nature channel. All the birds are all scrambled. It's very disfigured." She goes, "Oh, okay, And then next thing you know, spank my hairy ass." She's like, "Excuse me?"
Yeah. So this is, like I said, this is where, even though he's a Canadian legend and I'm Canadian, this was the very first time I found out who Eugene Levy was. And my God, what a way to find out.
But I love whenever the father comes in and Jim's hurrying up, trying to change the channel and panicking, just like as we would as that adolescent age watching porn. And of course, this is before the age of digital. This is like analog, very old technology. And if you wind up just squinting just a little bit, just like dial-up internet connection, you might see a nipple or two.
Yeah, you would hold up like the antenna just to the right angle. Hey, look, an areola.
Exactly. And it's like that. To be honest with you, that's just too much work.
Right.
If I had to do that much work, I'm gonna be done. I'm like, you know what? Taking the tube sock off. I'm done. I'm going to bed.
I'm gonna be like Jim a little early. Spoilers.
Exactly. And then, of course, it goes into the whole entire high school where Vicky's going into college. Kevin is over there, not so happy that he when she tells him that she loves him, has that little awkward feeling because he doesn't know how to feel about it. And then you have have Jim talking about Nadia. I like the introduction of the band geeks though too, and their dialogue that they're going through the hallways and like, you know what we should really do? We should play our instruments backwards.
Which I can admit to have trying to do, which you can't do with a fucking saxophone. Yes, most band people have tried to do that at one point or another.
But yeah, I definitely like that. And then of course I like how Jim's sitting down at the restaurant in the next scene. He goes, "Hey, I have a question. Were Nadia like really cool hip Jim?"
Oh. Same fucking Jim.
Right, exactly. And that damn shirt that he wore at the party, I wouldn't even wear that shirt. I'm sorry, that shirt, it was hideous.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Even I have no style, and even I wouldn't wear it.
No. But then it goes into the whole entire party scene that we talked about, and I like how they're still looking at Jim's still looking at Nadia. He goes, "Look, man, she's right over there. Just go on and talk to her." And I like how it goes into that slow-mo of at last my love has come home.
At last. Eddie James, I think that was.
Yeah. But what do you think of the party scene and everything that happened in there?
So the party scenes are at the beginning of the film are basically an essential of the American Pie films, because that's kind of where you get where the rest of the movie is going. Usually they end up starting at that party. Whereas this one is where we get the pact and whatnot. So yeah, again, Stiffler, some of the things he says, like, dude, calm down. But him getting his comeuppance as usual with the pale ale was great. Yeah, I'm sure you've been to these type of parties. I know I have. So it kind of took me back in time a little bit. Yeah, I like it. And especially before we skip it, I don't want to mention that Kevin, he's walking down the stairs with Jim and he says, you know, let's say I want to have sex, enough with his blowjob bullshit. Who just happens to be the bottom of the stairs, Vicky.
And of course, this is also when Vicky and her other friend is also talking about, well, have you ever had a orgasm or anything? Because I think I have. I don't know.
Oh, that's later.
No, that's next.
That's later.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what they're talking about is completely something different, though, too. They're talking about... Yeah, go on ahead.
I was just going to say what you probably were going to end up saying.
But yeah, she winds up talking about the fact that she hasn't had sex or anything. And she goes, well, what's holding you back? I just want the perfect moment. She goes, well, it's not a space shuttle launch. It's sex.
Yes.
And then that's when Kevin comes downstairs and he goes, enough of this blowjob shit.
Yeah.
Because I need to get laid.
Yeah.
She goes, really? Real nice, Kevin.
Nice.
Real.
Yeah. Can you take me home? And then
and then Oz is also striking out. He's supposed to be Casanova.
Yeah.
Chick.
Can I just say, I hate Oz at the beginning of this movie. And from when he makes that switch on, I love him for the rest of the series, but I fucking hate him at the beginning of this movie because he's so bad.
His transformation is really good.
Right, because it feels more natural, whereas this doesn't. It feels like he's pushing it. He's trying too hard, you know?
And I think that's actually good though that he's playing it off. The actor's playing it off that way because that's supposed to be how it's supposed to be.
I just don't like how Chris Klein does it though. You know, like
it comes off a little too airy.
It comes off a little too like you can tell he's acting. You know?
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
For me, I think it works because of the fact that, you know, he's a jock. He's going to go ahead and try to go for the first thing that he goes after and everybody knows him for.
Yeah.
So I think it's just completely about how a complete jock would actually talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just me on how I'm looking at him. And then him just being a total douchebag at the very beginning of it.
Oh,
and
he
turns around and goes, "Suck me, beautiful." He goes, he's like, "What did you say? Suck me, beautiful?" Goes, I'm Nova, as in Casanova. He goes, "I'm going to take you over to the party." Because that's where you belong.
Yeah. pretty much.
And then,
oh, so awkward, so terrible. Like,
right?
dude, sit down.
And then even Jim says this when he gets over to the party. He goes, "Well, easy there, Nova." He goes, "Man, I'm a fraud."
Yeah.
And then that's when Stiffler goes, "Suck me, beautiful."
Typical Stiffler.
Yeah. But that the party stuff is always great to see in American Pie movies. I definitely like it whenever the dialogue between them. It actually feels natural. It actually feels like you're in this big, huge party scene, especially seeing it on the big screen and stuff like that. And the different clicks.
They did that because they were old enough.
Exactly. But as far as that part goes, I think I also have to agree with you in a sense because the "Suck Me Beautiful" thing and stuff like that doesn't hold up. That is, or anything like that in today's time.
That is definitely something of this time. You will probably never hear a kid that age say that at a party.
No. People would probably say, "I would like to make passionate love to you" versus.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying. But in our time, this was actually how we talked to people. Sadly. As a young adolescent kid that didn't know anything, especially when Stiffler calls somebody a fuckface and stuff.
Oh, God. Shit break,
you know. But yeah, this is actually how we would actually talk in the 90s.
And I did. In growing up in the 2000s, I talked like that. And I'm just ashamed to admit it.
But yeah, then you have the fact of Kevin winds up making the interior pact the next morning because don't forget he's also seeing Shermanator because I'm here to see.
Pisses them off as everyone assumes Shermanator. Yeah, so we haven't introduced yet. Well, no, we did Sherman. But yeah, Kevin's. It's that kind of is the impetus. He's pissed off that Sherman got laid before him.
Right, and it's like, how dare you do this before I do it? And I'm like, Sherman doesn't. Here's the thing: Sherman's on his own. He's not even part of that group. So why would you even be pissed off at Sherman?
Because he's a nerd,
right? But they are also nerds though too in their own sense.
They're nerds that are really good friends with Stiffler. Like that. That's kind of the thing. There is that social status there. They're like just below, if not just touching that, popular crowd.
Right. It's like we're just basically by association, we're friends.
Yeah, and
you get the benefits of being
got along with everybody.
Right, and then of course you also have the geeky nerds that come over to Stiffler's house, rings the doorbell. Are you? Yeah, we're here for the party. What party?
What party? And then also
there's
he
goes, "Oh, here."
and later, Stiffler will be the groomsman at her wedding.
Right. Which is, I think that's actually funny that they actually picked him to be the groomsman for the wedding and the third one.
Well, yeah, because no odds, unfortunately.
Right. But, and then, she's like, I think the party's down the street. So then after that, it goes into the other chaos of the party and things like that we mentioned. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think all in all, like, despite the few of the dialogues and stuff like that, you establish the friendships, you establish who Stiffler is, you establish this. Go on.
The motives,
because Sherman is like, I'm here to save one woman.
That son of a bitch rips it off from the Terminator.
Right, one special lady. To help her out. So, anyways, the next morning, they wake up. Sherman's coming out of the room. And he's over there hugging the girl. He gives him a thumbs up. He goes, I can't fucking believe it. He got laid before I did. And so anyways, Kevin's pissed off and he goes, that's it. I had enough of it. We're gonna make a pact right here, right now. And then that's whenever they just played. And I like how Chris Klein does like the kung fu thing, though that Oz does that whole entire kung fu thing. Right. Kung Fu Dragon. But then they go into the restaurant after that and they talk about the rules and the regulations of how they're going to do this. And he goes, look, no prostitutes. Looking at you, Finch.
Yeah. Don't even think about it, Finch. Busted.
but it has to be done before prom. And he goes, yeah, it's like an unspoken law in a sense. And so they vowed to actually lose their virginity before graduation, and it has to be on prom night. Can't be prostitutes, can't be anything like that. So
wait. They don't actually say it has to be on prom night. It has to be prom night is when it ends.
Right, prom night is when it ends. Yeah,
because I mean, like you got Jim later on with Nadia, where he's just like, please let it be the one, like, and then you have Kevin or later with him and Vicky, where he thinks about sex. Like I don't think they actually said that it has to be on prom night.
No, it doesn't. That's like whenever it ends. You're right.
Yeah.
But that's what I was just assuming at first. But then I remembered, like you said,
yeah,
you know. Then after that, it goes into this whole entire montage of them buying the condoms.
Yeah, trying all these different things. This is where you get Finch doing his golf. You've got Jim air humping his bed. I forget what Oz and Kevin do, but
Oz decides to join the choir.
Oh, and that's during this montage that he does that? I thought it was that. I thought it was the next scene.
Yeah, that would be the next scene.
It's around here, either way. Anyways, it is around here, yeah. But what does Kevin do?
Kevin is over there. I don't remember what Kevin does.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the book yet.
No, he doesn't. So that would be something later on whenever he has the book. Yeah. But everything. I like how also too someone bought the condoms, and you have Jim who bought like 6 different types of condoms.
Yeah,
Magnum size.
Safer than a tube sock.
Right? But I have to laugh though. He's over there. I'm like, damn, dude, how many damn boxes of condoms did you buy?
Hey man, when you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Right, exactly. But I'm looking at through adult lenses and I'm thinking to myself, damn, you don't really need that many condom boxes.
Right? It's like you're not Marathon Man here.
No. And then through teenage eyes, I'm laughing my ass off because of the fact that would be something that I would do. But I'm laughing at the fact of how stupid they are for overthinking it.
Yeah, and that's actually one thing I was thinking about while watching this film. It's just like, okay, which of these characters am I? I'm Jim if you got him off of Wish. Best way to describe it.
To be honest with you, I'm more of a Jim though too. If I'm honest, I'm more of a Jim. I'm not Stiffler. I'm not any of those other guys. I'm not Oz. I'm not a big jock. And I'm also a little bit of Kevin though too, because I'm a little not high strong, not a douchebag or anything in that kind of way. But I would have to say that he does in a way care about Vicky and loves her, has that little bit of emotional feelings for her. So I'm a little bit of Jim and a little bit of Kevin on that part. Yeah. But I'm not one of those.
A little bit of Oz in there as well, but I'm like 99% Jim if you got him off Wish.
Right. But after all that, we actually have. After they seriously fight, okay, so accuses him of being with her only for sex. Okay, so Kevin, the entire of the pact, tries to repair the relationship with his girlfriend Vicky. Yeah, after they have a serious fight at the party, when she accuses him of being with her only for sex, Oz Stryker, who is on the high school lacrosse team with Stiffler, joins the jazz choir to pick up girls, as the girls in the band know little of the intensive jock reputation. Paul Finch, the Macchiano drinking soap trade, right? Pays Vicky's friend Jessica.
He yells at the gym at one point.
Right. But yeah, he ends up paying Jessica $200 to spread rumors about the school of his sexual power. Yeah. Hoping that it will increase his chances of success.
Yeah, that'll definitely come to play later.
But I like how first they go over to the choir, he goes, what the, and then Stiffler goes, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah, we've all done this in high school. Where one of your friends is doing this something, you go to your friends like, dude, you gotta come see this. Yeah, we've all done.
And he's over there saying,
this is where the Oz part of it comes out, because I'm the choir guy. That's where I'm like Oz is. I'm the choir guy.
I'm the theater nerd, basically.
Okay, yeah.
But of course he's like, do you believe in magic?
In a young girl's heart.
And then
oh yeah.
And then Oz comes coming over there really proud of himself. He goes, this is like untouched territory. these band chicks will, this choir chick girls will actually let you screw them and everything. And nobody even knows about this. I'm like,
Ooh.
yeah. This part doesn't. Okay, 15-year-old me laughing my ass off at this.
Let's put it this way: Stiffler doesn't age well. It's Stiffler that doesn't age well.
No,
see what it is.
No, but Oz doesn't age well either, to a sense, because of how he says things.
Yeah, up until like this movie, anyways. In this movie, like in the next one, he's way more mature. Way more mature.
And I like that. I like this transformation of him into towards the end of this movie, and then when you see how he is in the second movie, he's more mature. While the other ones are still the same way.
The biggest character development, out of the four main guys. I mean, we're not going to include Stiffler because he doesn't really change.
No, there's no changing Stiffler.
No, he's our asshole.
Right.
But yeah, out of the four of them, I think it's easy to say he has the biggest character growth.
I do agree.
Yeah, like I mean, like the others do to a degree, like they do become more mature, but it's just from where he started to where he ended up as a person. I think Oz is the best of them. I
think so too. I really do. But like I said before, 14-year-old me laughing my ass off at what Oz is saying.
Oh, totally.
And yeah, but adult me, I'm like, dude, no.
Yeah, or that's not the way. To pull a line from later in the movie, that's not a good way to proposition me.
No, definitely not. Yeah. But then you also have Kevin who goes up to Finch. He's like, look, dude, I don't think that the girls are into the miniature golf thing.
Yeah. Fun fact, Jim was supposed to be in that film, but he came down with food poisoning and couldn't do it. Yeah.
So I think it makes sense for Kevin to be there versus Jim.
And then, they were both supposed to be there.
Oh, they both were?
So
okay.
They were both supposed to be there, but then Kevin ended up just having all the dialogue.
Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
So one of the times I listened to the audio commentary. So,
but then after, so after the jazz choir stuff and things like that, you also have Jen Levy, Jason Biggs's dad. Jim's dad. He winds up Nadia, an exchange student from Czechoslovakia, after she comes to Jim's house. Yeah.
Accent.
Go on.
I said that is not a Czech accent. That is Swedish at best.
Yes, that's not even. To be honest with you, I'm the type of person. If you can do the accent, do the accent. But if you can't, you can't.
Yeah. Well, that's actually one of the things that was brought up. Is like it kind of morphed into that accent. Like it never started off that way. It started off as actually a different accent that was very clear, but that's just kind of how it ended up.
Right, because I also remember Jim's over there looking at her in history class, and he's like, she goes, "Would you tutor me?" Yes. Yeah. I'll tutor you. And then all of them are like, doing the sexual.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
I change clothes at your house.
Oh.
And then
we haven't gone to the pie scene yet, though.
No, we need to go to the pie scene.
Yeah, that was break it down before the Nadia stuff, right?
Yeah, break it down though.
So earlier in the movie, when they were leaving dog years, Jim turns to his friends and said, "What's it like?" And it's Oz who said, "It's like warm apple pie." So fast forward,
McDonald's or homemade.
Yeah, right. And then so fast forward, Jim comes home from school and he sees the pie on the table. There's nobody home. So he fondles the pie. And then the next thing you see is Eugene Levy come home. Say hi to the neighbors. Then he walks into the room. Now, what position was Jim screwing the pie in the version you watched?
He just had the pie on his penis and just going ham on it.
He was up against the counter?
Yes. But I know on the unrated version, go ahead and tell him about the unrated version.
Because I watched, I own all the unrated versions because that's what they released on DVD as. So he watched it in the more, like, still, but Jim is up against the counter. You just see him humping the pie. The version I watched, he's on top of the pie, on the counter, wrecking it. Just wrecking it.
And this was actually going to be an NC-17 movie at first until they ended up having to change that scene.
Yeah.
Then, because I remember watching the bloopers or the behind the scenes featurette, I'm like, that was not in my version? Why is he on the counter?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I watched the unrated version. I'm like, okay, now I get it.
Because that's all they released. That's all they ever released these for the most part on home video was the unrated version. Now on streaming, I think it's the theatrical. But yeah, for the longest time, it's unrated, which is why my DVDs are unrated and the digital copies I have are also unrated.
Right.
All of them.
But so after that, I like how they're just sitting at the table.
Just
and Jim's dad looks at him and goes, well, and I like how the pie's like really disintegrated and they just have it on there. He goes, well,
we just tell your mother we ate the whole thing.
I really love Jim's dad because he's just understanding because of the fact that he was once like Jim.
Yeah. And that is, I love, besides loving Eugene Levy, Jim's dad is the type of dad you would want. Even though he embarrasses you to no degree, and oh boy, does he embarrass Jim at number 2 in the hospital. But, like you said, he's understanding. He's been there. He may not know how to articulate it, but he always says the right thing when you need it. Which is why, like, again, spoilers for number 3, which is why Michelle goes to Jim's dad with help writing her wedding vows. Because, like I said, because he always knows the right thing to say.
And then another thing that I thought was hilarious was he buys them porno mags. He bought him Shade Magazine, Penthouse Magazine, Playboy, and he goes, now now we're gonna open up the magazines. Okay, you see this magazine, they kind of went on to the lower region. It's kind of shaped. Now look at this right here. You see, oh boy, they really went into.
I love. I can't remember. Is it the second movie? No, I think it's the second movie where they pull them out again, and you're like the pages are stuck together. I think it's the fourth one where they're like the pages are stuck together and just like.
And then, so his dad goes, "Look, I'm gonna go on ahead. I'm gonna put this in the drawer for safekeeping, so that way you can read them later on." And then he looks at all the condoms,
and he says, "Safer than a tube sock."
He just shrugs it off. Goes, "Good talk, son."
Yeah. God, I love Jim's dad.
And then of course, this is where we actually get the scene I was talking about that was setting up Shannon Elizabeth's character, Nadia, and she's needing help with her history work. And she's going to change clothes at his house. They're going crazy because of the fact that she's going to be changing clothes at his house.
Because, Jim, he's telling everybody, and then people are like, "You want to just send us the link?" And that is another thing. Oh my God, the pun. We'll get to it, but oh my God, they got a fucking light. Whew.
Yes. And so they said, he was like, "How do I do that? Just put up a link. Everybody and just send it to the people that you needed to send it to, and that's it. And you're good to go." At first, he's hesitant. He's like, "Look, I don't know about this. I don't really want to. Come on, man, you got to do this." So he winds up setting up a webcam. And also, too, in the montage of that, you also see Jim getting on a dating site as well, and stuff like that, too, on a webcam. And I remember those old webcams. It was like really wonky. It was something that you don't want to even have.
It's like how it makes you wonder how they could see everything.
Everything's all pixelated.
Right? Ugh. Yeah, no, God.
I hated that.
The easiest way to date these movies is this scene in this movie, and then when Jim glues his hand on his dick in the next movie, he's watching a VHS. Those two scenes date these movies.
Yes, they do. And at this point, Nadia comes up the stairs to Jim's house.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I changed clothes?" "Yes." "Go on ahead. Change clothes." At that point, Jim's dad walks out. Jim walks out. And then she starts undressing. And then he's running to his friend's house.
Be back.
And I like how they have Blink-182 in this as a meta.
Yes. And the song, too.
But, yeah.
Yeah, but now, another trivia. Just, what's his face? Jim had heat stroke this day while he was doing the run.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Doesn't he look like he was
heat stroke doing it? I think he actually had it before doing it. Yeah, by the way, he had heat stroke doing this run.
I don't blame him. I would
no luck in this first movie.
No. And so he's running back and forth. He goes over to his friend's house. Everybody's watching. And he's thinking that he only sent the link to his friends, the ones that need to watch.
Jim never finds out because everybody else finds out while Jim's on camera. But Terminator is the one that called him and says, "What an idiot!" He sent everyone onto it sent to everyone on the East High directory, and you don't realize the gravity of it till later on. But like when you know and you hear that, you're like, "Oh shit, he really did send it to everyone."
And even Stiffler's watching it. Stifler's brother's watching it.
Yeah, which this is where Stifler's brother becomes horny like Stifler. It was this moment because I'm watching it this time. Seems like a normal kid leading up to this, and then when we see him later, he's full on. You guys are gonna fuck. I'm pretty sure this is what turned him.
Yeah, that was that moment where he became a man when he seen Nadia's chest. That's exactly right. But yeah, then she's over there because she's gonna leave. She's looking up at the magazines.
Yeah,
this is not good.
There's the time. It is now.
Right, and then he winds up. This is not good. She's looking through the magazines. Then all of a sudden, she has a shirt on that he wore from the party.
Yeah. And
she starts touching herself.
And what is it? Nadia, I would never have known.
He goes, jackpot, baby. And so he goes, then
I was in my bed, touching herself.
And then that's whenever he's like, look, man, you got to go over there.
If there's a perfect time, it is now.
Yeah. So he runs back over to his house, and I like how he asks Kevin before he goes over there. So what should I say? Just ask her if she needs an extra hand.
Oh, and of course, that's what he asks.
Right. And so he winds up saying exactly what Kevin said. He winds up feeling her, and he winds up.
Fine now, I see yours.
Right. He winds up ejaculating. And he goes, look, and
whoa. Let's not forget the dance.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. You talk about that part.
So when she says, you've already seen mine, now you show me yours, he's awkwardly, she tells him to dance. So he starts doing a strip to this really bad techno song. And grosses Stiffler out. And everybody's wondering what the fuck is he doing. Now, a little fun fact, another trivia fact. This was Jason Biggs' first movie. The day after it opened, somebody yelled at him while driving down the street, "Do the dance, pie fucker!" And that's when he said. That's when he knew his life was over. Like he would be famous forever, and because of this dance. Like when you were growing up during this time, if you said American Pie, everyone knew this scene, this dance, because of how iconic it is. Hilariously, awkwardly iconic. So he takes, dances, takes out the chair, which was one of the characters is like, please don't take out the chair, and he takes out the chair.
He took out the chair. They're narrating everything.
And then basically they're narrating the whole show. And then so she signals him over, and then he blows his load the first time. And she's like, well, okay, I guess I'll go now. And he's like, no, don't go anywhere. I got reserves. She gets him to touch him this time. And what did she says? What is the word he used? Shaved.
First he goes on ahead and says, look, I have magazines and everything. They arouse me, but not as much as they arouse. As much as you arouse me.
And that's when she gets on, kisses him, and then she gets off and is like, what is it you Americans say? Shaved, and you see the shot from between her legs. And you just, it's the Mrs. Robinson shot. And you just see Jim go, holy shit. And then everyone watching going, holy shit.
And then you have Blink-182 doing it.
It comes early again.
Right. I like the meta though of them using Blink-182 as he's doing the running and everything, and they just took like a short break just to.
Yeah.
But yeah, she goes, and so after that she winds up leaving, and then the next morning she's gone. She's gone.
Everyone gets to school and everyone's laughing at him, thumbs up, doing the dance. He's like, what the fuck? And then he runs into, and then Oz and Kevin come up, and he's like, hey, Minute Man. He's like, shut up. And Oz asks him, so what happened? And he's like, I don't think her sponsors liked it. And she's like, how do you know? He's like, because she's on a plane back home right now.
And you know what? I'm actually surprised that the principal didn't see it. There's no principal in this movie either.
It didn't dawn on me to this time. They got off fucking late. If you did that now, you'd be expelled or worse.
Right.
Like
especially in the digital age. Right, but especially in the digital age now.
100%.
Because that would have been leaked all over the porn sites and everything too.
100%, yeah.
And there's no principle even in this movie or anything like that. So I'm like, where's the fucking principle at?
Yeah.
And there's no consequences for them. That's one thing.
A meeting, as we find out in the next movie.
Right.
Yeah. And as we find out in 4, apparently never left the internet, no matter how hard Jim tried to just get it deleted.
Right.
But yeah, this is probably the most iconic scene, but easily the most problematic.
I agree. It is problematic. And I no wonder why she left. The sponsors are not going to. You think the sponsors are going to really like you dancing and her getting naked on your bed and masturbating on your bed?
Yeesh. Yeah. Well, then she ended up coming back, so.
No, there was no back at all.
Yeah. But yeah, then that's when they find out that she left. And then Jim's having a hard time at school because everybody's making fun of him. But the next scene, he's talking to Michelle. He's telling her all these stories about band camp.
Right. And then this is also, too, where it's like, well, now I don't have anybody, so I might as well go over to the next person.
Yeah. And then and lo and behold, it ends up being the one, right?
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, she's like, well, she's the only one talking to him. So he's like, you know what? Why not?
And he's probably also thinking to himself, well, there's no way in hell this girl even knows anything that happened. Basically, so I'm in the clear.
Into it.
Right. So he feels safe around her, feels comfortable because of the fact, number one, he doesn't have to feel like he's hiding anything.
Right.
So he can just
feel embarrassed or awkward.
Exactly. So as Jim slowly, so Kevin complained earlier to Jim all about the fact that Vicky is delaying having sex, and she overheard the comment annoyed at him. He vows to make it up to her. Remember what Jessica has told him. Okay, so this is okay. Now let's get into the scene where he talks to Casey Affleck,
his brother. Yeah.
And I'll let you talk about that scene though too, because he's in a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, where it's just like he's got his buddy. And I'm just like, what do you recommend to him? It's just like the what is it? The handmade shrimp rolls, or whatever. Kevin's like, oh, how do you do that? It's like, just shut up. No, so Casey Affleck appears in the first 2 movies as Kevin's brother. He only appears in 2 scenes, but basically he's the one that gives Kevin the idea for the impetus of the movie. Which is that's the second one where he's like Brent the Beat House, just the film.
Right.
This one where he gives him the advice on how to reciprocate, to show Vicky that he cares about her just as much as he does, but this way is by going down fellatio. And so this is where we're introduced to the Bible.
Yep.
Which is like where a bunch of people over the years have gotten together and written down all these different sexual things in this book. Now, have you ever seen the spin-offs?
Yeah, I have. I've seen every single spinoff.
So we find out in the Book of Love that none other than Jim's dad was one of the founders of the book.
Of the book.
Which I don't know if that's still technically canon, but in that movie, he was one of the writers of the book. But yeah, so anyways, he ends up making it up to Vicky by going down on her using what is called the tongue tornado, which he later says to Oz, leaves you a little dizzy.
He goes, yeah, does your tongue feel
a little numb?
No. It's just a little dizzy.
Yeah. Oh, the best part is
twister.
They're doing it upstairs in Vicky's bedroom, and she's obviously like, whoa! And he's like, keep it down. You don't have any locks on here. While her dad's coming up the stairs to get her for dinner, and of course, perfect movie timing. Just as about to open the door, she yells, "I'm coming!" Oh, okay.
Yeah. My thought was this. Okay, so you have your boyfriend upstairs. You're downstairs, and they know that Kevin's upstairs with her.
Yeah, but Vicky's a good girl.
So we think, right? But anyway.
Kidding,
but yeah. So then after that happens, you actually have Finch meanwhile has his own problems. Stiffler angry about the fact that a girl turned him down for prom because she was waiting for Finch to ask her.
One of the rumors was Finch beat the shit out of Stiffler.
Exactly. Because at first, remember when they were talking about Kevin, they went up to Kevin at first and said, is it true about what they said about Stiffler? Yeah. He's really, you can really...
Really hung? I don't know. Sure. He's never taken his shit back. Was he never taken his
bathing suit off
in the shower? I mean, yes, he is. It's like, oh.
And then Then he lied about having a tattoo. He lied about that.
Then about having sex with an older woman that was Stiffler's mom, which actually came true. Spoilers.
Right. This is also where we actually get the term MILF from. This is also still being used today.
MILF for sure.
Yep. And I like how the foreshadowing is of him sleeping with someone older, and it's not even true yet.
Yeah.
And it's foreshadowing what's going to happen later on.
Yeah. Oh, should we say who one of the MILF guys was?
Yes, go on ahead. Yep.
John Chu, none other than Harold from Harold and Kumar, and Sulu from the Kelvin Universe Star Trek films.
Yes. But and then after that, after all that happens and stuff, so Finch meanwhile has his own problems. Stiffler is angry about the fact that he supposedly won against Stiffler in a fight. So he turned him down for Prom because she was waiting for Finch to ask her out, as well as the rumor going around that Finch beat him up. Like I said, he puts a laxative into Finch's mochaccino.
Skip over because it is an important thing. Finch at the beginning of this film is revealed to have an issue with being able to use public washrooms, so he goes home to take a shit, and so his nickname by Stiffler is Shitbreak. Shitbreak, which is what feeds into this scene, which makes the X laugh part of it hilarious because he feeds it into his mochaccino, and then all of a sudden he's running down the hall like we've all been there too, where he's like trying to hold it in with his hand. He's like doing these weird dances. He runs right past the washroom. There's Stiffler holding up the door. He's like, right in here, sir. Women's washroom.
And the women are over there powdering their noses, talking about the fact that Finch might take them out to prom.
And this is where we find out the rumor that it was Stiffler's mom was right at this moment.
Right. And then all of a sudden you hear a bunch of
everywhere. Oh, and let's not forget, while he's shitting his pants, he puts paper towel on the seat. I'm like, at that point, I wouldn't care.
Me either. I would just sit there and just let it go. At this rate and everything, you're done. You're finished.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's no coming back from that.
At the point figures out they're girls. That he's in the girls' washroom. And then that all happens. The next thing he sees the door opening and him whistling. And there's a whole audience of girls disgusted. And there's Stifler going, yeah!
And then after that happens, they go. Now we're dealing with the whole prom thing.
Prom montage.
Yep. And I like how Jim's dad said, "Now be careful putting on the corsage."
Yeah, and the way he does it, you're like every time he's still like he's gonna say, be careful putting on the condom.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like how he ends
you got Finch in the montage just looking depressed as fuck because everything, all his plans are shot. You don't really see Kevin, I don't think, too much in this montage. You see Vicky trying on her dress, doing the 90s dance.
Right.
See Oz and Jim go tuck shopping, and boy, Jim does not have a good sense of style.
No, he doesn't. It looks like a Beetlejuice tuxedo.
But he's all happy, and the guy's all happy. He's like, and he turns to Oz, and Oz like, no, and Jim's like, and then they see the blue one behind him.
But also, too, this is before that, though, too, you also have another thing that winds up happening as well, where basically Oz's girlfriend is pissed off at him.
Fucking Heather. Oh.
Yeah, Heather gets pissed off at Oz because Oz is over there.
We need to set this up. So he joins choir to get chicks, which basically what ends up happening. But throughout the rest of the movie, him and Heather start to get to know each other a little bit. And she asks him out to prom, and then we get the scene where she asks him out to prom, and as she's leaving, she sees Stiffler and the guys, doing what the guys back then did, and Oz wasn't doing anything to say fuck off. And then she sees it upset. Next day, she says, prom is a bad idea, don't fucking go. You can tell it really affects Oz. Yeah. Anyways, and then he from there he volunteers to sing the male part in the choir for the show. That's literally the next scene. Heather, who's still pissed at him, is like, don't mess this up. This is
something that you can't fake.
Exactly. This is something you can't fake. Like, we take this shit seriously. Then the next scene we see them, she walks by the choir room where he's practicing, so you can see her heart kind of soften a little bit. And then the next time you see them again, she shows up when he's at working the night shift at his dad's job, and then they get to know each other and what have you.
Right.
And then, and then after that is when he finds out that the day of his final lacrosse game is the same day as the choir. So he has to tell her, "Fuck, I can't do it. I'm sorry." And you can tell she gets it, but you can tell she's heartbroken. But easily what as an adult comes out to be one of my favorite moments is when they're doing the lacrosse game. You can tell his head's not there. He's playing great, but his head isn't in the game, literally. Gets knocked down. He's sitting on the bench just trying to get his shit together, and the coach gives a speech and basically
about not scoring
and what have you. And Oz is like, "Have a good game, fellas." And he just fucking runs off. And he runs and he goes back to the choir, and when he shows up, she's like, "Oh, you're missing the game for us." He's like, "No, I'm missing the game for you." And then, no joke, as a 36-year-old adult, that's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Me too, because it shows the fact that he was an asshole for making fun of her for having all those sexual innuendo, you know what I'm saying? And stuff like that with his jock friends. And then he goes into being mature, being like an immature young adult. And that's something I really like. And I like the slow progression of it.
Yeah, and that's the spark between them. And you can see that in the next scene when they're doing the choir duet. You can see that the words are coming from their heart. Like, it's, they probably didn't win because they're not that great, but you could tell like
the chemistry is there.
The chemistry is there, and there is meaning behind the song because of that.
Right.
So.
Because of that feelings between the two of them, opposed to that other guy that was there.
God, Albert, you suck.
Does this mean I don't get to sing? Yeah.
I want to say that person is somebody famous too, like or related, a brother of somebody famous.
Really, I didn't even know that.
I think is one of the Livelies. Actually, I'm looking that up. So the directors of this movie actually have a connection to an interesting footnote in 1930s Hollywood history.
Really, I didn't know that either.
You ever heard of the 1931 Spanish Dracula?
Yeah, I heard of him.
Their grandmother, it was Lupita Tovar, who was the female lead of that film.
Really, I had no idea.
Yeah. So they're they come from like obscure Hollywood royalty.
That's pretty awesome. That was a little bit of Hollywood history I didn't even know about.
Yeah, that was just something I randomly came across. Eric Lively, that's Blake Lively's brother.
Okay.
I was like, I knew it was somebody like a relative of someone. It's Ryan Reynolds' brother-in-law. There we go.
But yeah, then also too, Kevin's also acting douchey over at the prom. Because this choir chick right? Because remember, Kevin goes over to so you think this choir chick is gonna pay off or what? Hey,
and
Jim,
like, what
is there right? All of them are pissed off at Kevin at this point, and
Kevin
realizes
he's drunk. He's just drunk because he's had a horrible night.
And then Jessica hands Shipwreck Finch, thank you. Finch, a flask that she got with his money for the $200 that she used.
$50 for the flask, $150 for the earrings.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just so you know, nothing's gonna happen.
Just as it should.
Yeah. No, of course.
Right. But I think I like the friendship between her and Finch.
Oh yeah, there's definitely they're almost like kindred spirits in a way. Like we almost wish he got more screen time with them.
That's something I really liked was the chemistry between her and Vicky, and then a chemistry between her and Finch was really good.
Sure. Yeah, Natasha Lyonne is an underrated part of these films. I'm glad she gets more screen time in the second one. But one of the things I did skip out over a little bit was when they confronted Kevin. They basically confront him with the fact, like, what are you afraid of having sex? Like, you don't need us there with you. And that's kind of what happens with the crux of Kevin. He's just like, I don't know what to do.
Gun ho, ever since Sherman got laid.
Here, and you're like, now what do I do?
Right. It's like this, like you're on a first date. You don't know what the hell to do because it's your first time doing anything. So you're already awkward as hell already. Yeah. But I do like how he's like, look, we're going to be going over to Stiffler's party, know? And
before we get there, though, we got to explain what happens to get them to that scene. And that is when the girl who everyone thinks slept with Sherman goes up on stage and says, no, we didn't. And like airs all his
His
dirty laundry
pants.
there, and go. And just so you know, when he gets nervous, he sometimes pees himself a little, just as he pisses himself right in front of everybody. And that's when we get the scene where they go outside to where you get Kevin bearing his feelings, and they're like, "Yeah,
And
just
I'm
so
like,
you know,
why else do you think that we've been friends with Stiffler all this time?
the whole
And they're
time, right?" And they're like, "You were friends with Stifler?" It's like, yeah. But and then
He was
that's
reaping
what,
the benefits. But yeah,
yeah, pretty much. Like I'd
yeah.
love to have that friend. But yeah, and then Kevin's like, "Oh, I don't know." And he's like, Sherman didn't even have sex. What? Yeah, he pissed himself in front of everybody. What? We'll tell you on the bus. And then it's like, "Yeah, I'll go get my bag."
But I do have to say this: I thought that the band for the prom was annoying.
That was the point. That was
because
the point. They wanted to
because-
hire, like, they wanted them to have, like, what you would assume would be the shittiest band ever. And I think they even come back from reunion, the same band.
I think so too. Yeah. You're right. Now that I'm remembering, they do come back.
Something to me that, but that I actually noticed for sure this time. So when that girl goes up on stage to humiliate Shermanator, the band member in the Fez sits down and he legit grabs himself on fucking camera, and it's right there in the film.
I didn't even see it.
I never noticed it until somebody pointed it out, and now I can't not see it.
Okay, I need to see that now.
Yeah.
Well,
it's more like it's like a shifting crotch grab, but yeah.
Right, I gotcha. Not the grab, like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
not
never
like that,
noticed
but
it.
it's just like yeah.
I got you. But then after that, we are now at the party.
At Stiffler's lake house.
Right. All four boys fulfilled their pledge. Kevin and Vicky have made up and have sex upstairs. But before that, we actually see Stifler's brother.
Yep. Fuckers.
You guys are going to fuck, aren't you?
Yeah.
First fuck.
Yeah, we get that. And then, yeah, we get easily the more romantic of the one is Oz and Heather on the lake, which is like, God, that's a perfect fucking way. And then, of course, you got Finch with Stifler's mom, which the reason why you actually never see it, you know why you actually don't see them on camera?
Why?
He was underage. He was the only actual high schooler.
I was going to say, it has to be because of the fact he's underage.
Yeah, everyone else was around, like 19, 20 to 18. Whatever.
Right.
He was the only one that hadn't graduated high school.
So he's like, what, 17 in this?
Like 17-ish, yeah, around that. So that's why when you only hear it off screen, and then they kept that going for the rest.
Right. But I like that bit between the two of them. And
chemistry.
And you must be Stifler's mom.
Yeah.
I am. Why aren't you upstairs? I just don't feel like being up there. And so he goes, do you have anything to drink? He goes, there's beer upstairs. No. What does he say? He said that's the but he said something about beer.
Yeah, he's basically like, this isn't the exact wording, but he's like basically says that is what the Cretans drink. Like that's only beneath me. It's that's the gist of what he said. Yeah.
But I'm talking about alcohol. I'm talking about like
alcohol. It's just like, oh, there's a small scotch over there aged 18 years. Just how I like it. You're like, oh.
And then there's the pool table right there.
Yeah. Oh, let's go.
So he gets nailed on the pool table. It was a good night for him.
Why is the door locked? Mom?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hi, Stiffler.
Stiffler?
Shitbrick? Years.
He needs years of therapy after that.
Yeah.
But another thing, though, too, that happens, though, is whenever you had that continuous story of Michelle telling different band camp stories.
And, then, we did this, and Jim was like, mm-hmm. And then there was this one time at band camp, I stuck a food in my pussy.
What?
Yeah, what? It's like, well, what do you think we do there? Half of band camp is sex ed. And he's just like, why do you think I agreed to come and do the prom? You're a sure thing.
I've seen the video. You're a sure thing.
And he's like, oh, of course. And then they get together, and she finds out how much of a nympho she is.
Here's the thing I don't get, okay? So the kid looks like he's about 12 or 13 years old, Stifler's brother.
Yeah.
He's stepping on Legos. He's stepping on action figures. When I was around that age, I was not playing with.
I have Lego. Like, I don't know what you're getting.
Okay, never mind. And I'm judging you. I feel bad.
But he's like,
I'll admit.
Yeah, see, there you go.
There you go.
No, what I love is like just when Jim just finds out how a freak Michelle is because foot's on the Lego, kicking things, falling over, and then she's like, "Say my name, bitch," which was an improv. That was an improv line. Say my name, bitch.
That actually fits though. That fits Michelle to a T.
Yeah, 100%. And then the next morning he wakes up and he spoons with a dinosaur and he's like, I've been used. I've been used. What a dork.
And then
we get
that other
morning after. You get Heather and Oz on the deck, like just perfect. You don't see Finch, of course. I just explained what happened with Jim and Michelle, but then we get the morning after Kevin and Vicky, where they're talking about, you know what, I'm going to be in Ann Arbor, you're going to be here. It's not going to work, and they break up. Right. They break up after what the kind of night they both wanted, and Kevin says, like, when I said I love you last night, I meant it. And you can tell he still loves, even when you go all the way to 4. There is always, and he even said that there will always be that soft spot for Vic. Oh,
right, because that was his first love. You always had that soft spot.
That was his first. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
but yeah, even though you don't
kind of lost the most at the end, in a way.
Was that?
Well, in a way, it's just like he was the only one with the girlfriend going in, and he's the one that came out of it without one.
Right, but he still is like, you got laid, but what did you have to do to get it though?
Exactly. Which
there's consequences.
There was consequences, but you know what? It probably ended up good for both of them.
Right. But even though you don't see Finch and Stifler's mom, you do see Stiffler at least going down there, and you get to hear their voices Finch's voices.
Yeah.
And then after that, you have the scene. What's that?
And after that, they're at dog ears, and then they're going around the table, and Kevin's like, this we find out Oz doesn't tell them that he hooked up with Heather. This is where the true sign of maturity is, like, I'm just gonna say we had a wonderful night. Yeah. And
I think Oz was the gentleman of them all.
100%.
I had respect for Oz for doing that. And then Jim's like, it's okay, man. Better like next time.
Yeah.
I've been used.
Yeah. Okay, and then of course you got Finch. He's just like, not that I have anything to compare it to. It's like, you fuck.
Well, like you know what he sounds like? He sounds like Frasier.
Oh, dude, he after this is when he becomes his most snooty, and it's great.
Right.
It's like when we see how snooty he is in the second one, oh man.
Right, yeah. But just the way he carries himself like a young Frasier.
Yeah,
like, nothing like I have something to compare to.
Yeah,
like a psychiatrist. But okay, so after that they go say the next step, and then after that it ends. So now that we stripped away the nostalgia, now that we talked about it from adult lenses, okay.
One more scene. Let's not forget how the movie ends.
Okay.
With Nadia on the other end of the camera, and this time Jim is doing the dance again.
Oh yeah. And it has
the dad come up to the door, and he walks away and he starts. Oh, honey!
The Chinese chicken. But yeah. Now that we stripped away the nostalgia, now that we've talked about this scene by scene, what do you give it now?
I'm gonna bump it up to an 8.
Okay.
Like, you cannot give it anything higher than that, because, like I said, of all the stuff we talked about that doesn't work nowadays, the biggest one being that Nadia scene. Yeah, for a prepubescent boy, it's funny. There are still some laughs in there, but overall, it's just like, now I look at it perspective like, I wouldn't want that to happen to my daughter. You know?
No.
If I had a daughter.
But for me, some of the dialogue is still bad in it because of Stiffler.
100%. He's very homophobic in this film. Actually, he's just homophobic. Period. I don't know if by the time
and the third one he warms up.
By the fourth one, but that's probably his most problematic thing, is that he's incredibly homophobic.
Right, because if you remember in the third one, that's when he goes over to the gay club,
the gay bar. Yeah. And it's like, but then by the fourth one, he finds out half of his lacrosse teammates were gay, and then he ends up being a wedding planner. And the first one is 2 of his own former teammates.
Right. So for me, I'm gonna go on ahead. I'll probably bump mine up to at least an 8.1.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's how I feel about it, stripping away the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Of it. And yeah, there's some bad stuff within it and stuff like that, but still, there is still something to laugh about. There's something about that adolescence of saying, "Hey, I was once like that, but I'm no longer like that."
Now, how old are your kids? I know you got one.
Okay.
But how old's the youngest?
Okay, Lily is 17. Well, 8. Yeah, she's gonna be 18.
That's not the
Actually,
one
she
that
is.
was next room over, right? That's a 20-year-old you said?
The 20-year-old actually lives over at lives with us. The 23-year-old lives with her father.
Gotcha.
The 18-year-old just moved out.
Okay.
So
Okay, so take the youngest, which is 17, 18, which is the right age of the characters of this movie. Now, if you were to show this to them, do you think this would hit? I don't think it would.
no, because I know Lily's very outspoken.
Okay.
About a lot of things.
Yeah.
And this is actually one of those things that she would actually wind up saying, "This movie is horrible. It's this depicting of women. It's horrible."
100%.
I would actually say that she would be against it. And then my other daughter wouldn't even watch it because she don't even like watching makeout scenes. So she fast forward. I was like, "That's important plot points. Why are you
Right?"
But but that just shows you the difference in generation.
Oh, 100%. The movies that came out when we were, well, basically that ended with our
This is
generation.
how we would interact with our friends. We would call each other fuckface. We would go on ahead and bust each other's balls.
Yeah, those words you can't get away. Well, depending on who your friends are, I guess.
Right.
But like, yeah, like a movie like Porky's, which came out,
I remember that movie.
years prior to this, you definitely can't show that to a kid. Holy, I watched it as a kid. Definitely can't show that to a kid.
No, because I believe that there's certain movies. I think that these movies aren't relatable.
Oh, of course.
They don't talk to each other in that kind of way.
Yeah. Like, it'd be more relatable for us because that was
what we were
back then. So it's easy. Like, listen to the soundtrack of this and the second one, and it's very much the soundtrack of my life, and I'm assuming yours at that time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, like a lot of the songs that are in those first two movies are still on my phone. Toxic, the American Pie version of Be Like That, Mutt, 1 Week by the Bare Naked Ladies, House Song by Sum 41. Like, yeah, a lot of those songs.
That was my soundtrack. These were my two soundtracks.
100%, yeah.
And I still own them. I still own the two soundtracks, physical.
The only song I ever bought off of those soundtracks, like everything else I've got either by the original owners, but the only one I ever bought the American Pie 2 edit of Be Like That by Three Doors Down.
I love that version.
Favorite version is the only one I listen to. The opening intro is a little bit shorter, and he spent his whole life being too young.
And I actually got to see Three Doors Down a couple of years back.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Nice.
Because they're actually from the coast. They're actually from down here.
Okay. I didn't realize they're still around.
Yeah, they're still around. They're still performing and stuff like that. So, and they also make radio appearances down here whenever they're in town.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I think it was 2016 I got to see them for the first time.
A little bit of a sidebar. Did you hear that Simple Plan has released a single where they covered "Can You Feel the Love Tonight"?
I saw your post because I was busy listening to The Death of Silver.
I love it. Everyone's listening to the Eminem album, and then here's me going, "Simple Plan covered Lion King." But seriously,
that's on my to-do list.
It's exactly how you think it would be a Simple Plan cover of a Disney song.
I love Simple Plan, so you got me sold on trying to check out the cover of it.
On that, that type of punk music, fucking give that to me any day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's gonna be it as far as the show goes. I hope everybody enjoyed this this review. I will be back tomorrow night at 8:00 Central Time, 9:00 Eastern Time. It will be me, Don, Jason, and also I'll also have my other friend as well. We're gonna be actually breaking down House of the Dragon episode 6. It's episode 6 of House of the Dragon season 2. 8:00 Central Time, 9:00 Eastern Time tomorrow night. And then we're also going to be doing let's see here. I actually have that schedule right here. So on the 30th, I will have an actor named Jake Jensen. Jake Jensen was actually part of the movie Challengers that came out. So I'll be doing a one-on-one interview with him coming up. And also, on August 14th, I'll be doing a True Lies scene-by-scene review with Vernon Kelly. from CVMK. It is what it is podcast. But I also want to give a special shout out to one of the podcasts that has been supporting me recently. And as a matter of fact, he was going to be here tonight, but he actually has a bunch of storms going on over in Maryland right now. And it's my friend Justin. He's from Lights Camera Reels podcast. And I just want to say thank you so much, man, for the love and support that you have showed me for the last couple of weeks. It's been amazing that you're getting a lot of feedback just from my show and stuff like that from the shout outs that you're doing. So thank you so much for that. But Rossie will be here tomorrow night at 9:00 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to review the movie Precious. So she's going to be doing that. So without further ado, thank you again, my friend. Thank you for doing this review with me.
Hey, anytime you want to watch for these like older movies, I'm down. Because I can I can wax poetic a lot.
I love doing these.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds great. All right. Well, guys, we're out, and please do not fuck any pies. Have a good night.
Fuck a kumquat.